Let's solve a compound interest problem. The problem is this. Radha invested 15,000 rupees at 12% per annum for 3 years at simple interest. Sudha invested the same amount for the same time period at 10% per annum compounded annually. Who would get more interest and by how much? When we know that somebody has invested at simple interest and someone else has invested at compound interest, we generally know that the compound interest investment will give more interest. Because for simple interest, the interest is calculated only on the principal. Whereas for compound interest, the interest is calculated on the principal as well as on the interest. So typically we think that compound interest investment is going to give us more interest. But in this example, if you see, the rates are different. The simple interest investment is at 12% per annum means per year, and the compound interest investment by Sudha is at 10% per annum compounded annually. That means the compound interest is calculated every year. Since the rates are different, 12% and 10%, we will have to actually calculate both the interest and then decide who earns more interest. So let's write down the formula. For Radha, it is simple interest, which is PRT divided by 100. P is principal, R is rate of interest, and T is time period. And for Sudha, it is compound interest, but we do not have any formula for calculating compound interest. We have a formula for calculating the amount. So A equals P multiplied by 1 plus R over 100 to the power of N. Again, A is amount, P is principal, R is rate of interest, and N here is number of periods. So let's look at the problem carefully. We can see that P here is 15,000. The principal is same for both the girls, and the rate for simple interest is 12%. So I'm saying SR because this R is for simple interest, and the rate for compound interest is 10%. So I have written it as CR to indicate that this rate is for the compound interest. And 3 is T for the first formula and N for the second formula, which is the number of years or number of periods. Now let's start with the simple interest calculation. We'll substitute the values here in the formula. So we get simple interest equals 15,000 multiplied by 12 multiplied by 3 divided by 100. Let's cancel out 2 zeros from the numerator and 2 from the denominator. That means we are actually dividing 15,000 by 100. So we get 150. So what we have here is 150 multiplied by 12 multiplied by 3. 12 3s are 36. So you need to multiply 36 by 15. And when you multiply 36 by 15, you get 5,400. That means Radha will earn 5,400 rupees of simple interest. So let's keep this simple interest aside and let's work out the compound interest for Sudha. A equals P in the parenthesis 1 plus R over 100 to the power of N. Let's substitute the values. 15,000 multiplied by 1 plus 10 over 100 to the power of 3 or cubed. So the first step is to work out the numbers in the parenthesis. There are two ways to add 1 and 10 over 100. The first option is to convert the mixed number to an improper fraction. So 1 and 10 over 100 equals 110 over 100. The second option is to write 1 as 100 over 100 and then add the like fractions. So we get 110 over 100. Whatever method you find easy, you use that method. Now our equation looks like this. A equals 15,000 multiplied by 110 over 100 to the power of 3. Once you cancel out the zeros, it looks like 11 over 10. Now we have 15,000 multiplied by 11 over 10 multiplied by 11 over 10 multiplied by 11 over 10. 3 times because it's a cube. Now we cancel out 3 zeros in the numerator, all the zeros after 15, and 3 in the denominator, 1 from each 10. That means we are dividing 15,000 by 1,000. Now you have 15 multiplied by 11 multiplied by 11 multiplied by 11, which equals 15 multiplied by 11 multiplied by 121. That's because 11 squared equals 121. Now we will have to work out this multiplication because this doesn't look like a mental math problem. When you do the multiplication, you get 19,965. This is the amount. What we need is the compound interest. So let's subtract principal from this amount. That means subtract 15,000 from 19,965. The subtraction is easy. What we get is 4,965. This is the compound interest Sudha will get. So now we have both the numbers. Radha's number is 5,400 and Sudha's number, which is a compound interest, is 4,965. So who would get more interest? Radha would get more interest. Can we stop here? No, because the problem also says by how much. That means Radha gets more interest, but by how much? Let's subtract 4,965 from 5,400. This subtraction is easy. 4,965 plus 35 is 5,000. And then there are 400 after that. That means you get 435. If you cannot do mental math here, you can always do the subtraction using the regular method. So the answer here is 435. That means Radha gets 435 rupees more interest than Sudha.